What if a man lied his way into Congress? Not a small lie sealed, but a web of falsehoods so massive it shook the foundations of modern American politics. This isn't fiction. It's not satire. This is the real story of George Santos. In 2022, George Santos emerged from political obscurity to win a congressional seat in New York's 3rd District. His campaign painted a remarkable portrait: the son of hard-working Brazilian immigrants, a self-made Wall Street success, a man of Jewish heritage, openly gay, deeply patriotic, and a survivor in every sense of the word. His story touched all the right notes: struggle, triumph, identity, faith. But behind the applause was a lie. Shortly after his victory, investigative journalists began digging. At first, it was small inconsistencies, but then the dam broke. Santos hadn't worked at Goldman Sachs or Citigroup. In fact, he had no verifiable employment record on Wall Street. He didn't hold any college degrees, why, not from Baruch, not from NYU, as he had claimed. His supposed Jewish heritage? Fabricated. He later told the press, "I said I was Jewish, not Jewish." Even personal tragedy was manipulated. Santos publicly stated that his mother died due to the 9/11 attack. In reality, immigration records showed she was living in Brazil at the time. He didn't stop there. He claimed to be a star volleyball player. He said he ran an animal rescue charity, both false. The deeper reporters looked, the more the story unraveled. It wasn't just one lie, it was dozens, and they spanned nearly every part of his identity. Yet despite the mounting evidence, George Santos did not resign. He showed up to Congress, wore the pin, cast his votes, gave speeches, smiled for cameras, and with every public appearance the disbelief grew. How could a man who had fabricated nearly his entire life story still sit in the United States Capitol? The answer lies not just in Santos himself, but in the political system that allowed him to rise. Background checks were minimal, media scrutiny came too late, and voters, overwhelmed by constant political noise, had little reason to doubt a candidate with the right image and story. Santos wasn't just a liar, he was a mirror, a reflection of the cracks in modern democracy. But the story didn't end with lies. Federal authorities opened multiple investigations. Allegations surfaced of wire fraud, identity theft, false financial disclosures, and misusing campaign funds. He was accused of stealing money meant for a disabled veteran's dying dog. He allegedly used donor funds for luxury purchases, including designer clothes and Botox. Still, he remained defiant. "I will not resign," he told reporters. "I was elected by the people." That stubborn refusal turned him from a political footnote into a cultural sensation. Memes, SNL sketches, podcast parodies. He became both a punchline and a lightning rod. In December 2023, after months of public pressure and mounting legal troubles, Congress finally expelled him. He became only the 6th person in US history to be formally removed from the House. No criminal conviction, no trial, just a majority vote. And his political career was over. Or was it? Because here's the twist: even after being expelled, Santos hinted at a return. He spoke of re-election. He claimed to be a victim of media bias and political vengeance. And in a media landscape where notoriety often translates into opportunity, that possibility doesn't seem so far-fetched. But this isn't the first time the world has seen a figure like George Santos. In the 1800s, Gregor MacGregor invented a fictional country called Poyais and convinced hundreds to invest their life savings in it. In the 1900s, Frank Abagnale, famously portrayed in Catch Me If You Can, faked identities as a doctor, lawyer, and airline pilot. And in 17th century Russia, a man claimed to be the long-dead son of Ivan the Terrible. And for a while, people believed him. Throughout history, charismatic liars have found ways to capture the public imagination. But George Santos stands out because he did it in the digital age. In a world of social media, sound bites, and 24/7 news, he crafted an entire persona. And it worked. He didn't just fool a few people, he fooled the system. This raises a bigger, more uncomfortable question. If deception can be weaponized so effectively, is truth still enough in modern politics? Or have we entered a new era, where performance and perception matter more than facts? For voters, the George Santos story is a wake-up call, not just about him, but about all the candidates we trust, support, and elect. It challenges us to dig deeper, question narratives, and pay closer attention, because the next Santos might be smarter, more polished, and even harder to catch. In the end, Santos may be gone from Capitol Hill, but his impact will echo for years. He represents more than a man who lied. He symbolizes the consequences of unchecked ambition in a world too distracted to notice, until it's too late. And so we're left with a final question. In an age of endless information, can the truth still win? If you want more stories where history meets scandal, subscribe. Because sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the true ones.